yet there was a gentleness Hardy hadn't seen before. Before he'd left the DA's, Ingraham might have had some sensitivity, but it didn't ever come out gentle. Now his half-smile was that of a man looking back only. The good times, whatever they'd been, could never return. He sipped slowly at his whiskey. "You must have been out of the field a while yourself, if you still call them lawyers." Hardy grinned. It was an old joke. "Attorney, then? You still an attorney?" Like a flame trying to catch on a wick, the smile flickered back. Hardy was getting the feeling Ingraham hadn't spoken to a soul in a long while. "I still have that distinction," he paused, "though I rarely stand upon the Esquire in correspondence, and as you can see," he gestured at his clothing, "my practice is in a hiatus." He drank again, like a drinking man, but not hungrily, not like an alcoholic. There was a difference, and Hardy was keyed to it. "You do this full-time?" Hardy's eyes swept the room, proprietary. 9 years now. I own a quarter of the place." "That's great. And you're still with Jane?" "Well, we got divorced once, but we're going at it again." He shrugged. "I'm confident but cautious." "Yep, you always were." "So what about you? I noticed you came by on the bus." Their eyes met a moment, then the flame of Rusty's smile went out. "I got my car stolen a month ago. It's still gone. A major hassle. So I spend a lot of time waiting for the N. Godot." Hardy liked that. The N. Judah, which ran behind the Shamrock, was a notoriously slow line. "Otherwise, you pretty much see it, Diz. I hang out. I live in a barge down at China Basin. Chase an ambulance every month or two. Hit a good nag now and then. I've still got one good suit. I get my shoes shined, and for a day or two I can get by." He tipped up his glass and asked Hardy if he could buy him one. He put a $10 bill in the gutter. Hardy refilled them both, but didn't grab the bill. "Actually, Diz, I came by here today for a reason. You remember Louis Baker?" Hardy frowned. He remembered Louis Baker. 8 aggravated to 13? 9.5, it turns out. 9.5, Hardy repeated. "Hardly worth the effort." "Not even hardly." Hardy took a belt of his stout, set the glass down, and swore. "I must have sent down 100 guys. You too," he said. Ingraham nodded. "All told, I put away 214 assholes." Hardy whistled. "You were red hot, weren't you?" "Yeah, but there was only one Louis Baker." Baker had been a cancer in Hunter's Point for the first 20 years of his life. He had a huge head, a well-trimmed afro, and the body of a defensive safety. In spite of having a sheet ranging from the petty, vandalism and car theft, burglary and muggings, when he was in his teens, to the heinous as he matured, he was convinced he would never do hard time, and not without reason. The DA had been forced to drop charges on him twice for murder and 4 times for rape. He was good at not leaving evidence, or at making witnesses reluctant to testify. At one time, Baker went to trial for attempted murder and mayhem on a man who had talked too long to his girlfriend in a 7-Eleven. The man had finally refused to identify him when the crunch came. He got all the way to the stand, then looked at Baker at the defendant's table and evidently decided that if he pointed the finger at him, he would not live to see his grandchildren. So he suddenly couldn't say for sure that Baker had been the man who'd cut off his ears before stabbing him in the stomach in the middle of the afternoon. Hardy had been the prosecutor in that case. The DA's office, Rusty Ingraham this time, had finally gotten him for armed robbery of 4 victims, one of whom he'd wounded. But as it was only Baker's first conviction, meaning that in the court's eyes he wasn't yet a hardened criminal and hence a candidate for rehabilitation, the judge had been inclined to be lenient and had given him 8 years. When the verdict came down, Baker had quietly hung his head for a short time, then looked over at the prosecution table. Hardy had wanted to come